work out, spell it in your head, and it comes up with a
Yes.
different word, and then you're
Yep.
like
It
totally don't know
totally
how to
throws you
spell
off track for sure. All right. So pull this up. Now, these are basically the two shapes that we just talked about.
Yeah.
And let me zoom in a little bit. Too much. There we go. So we can kind of see we just played shape one, and we have three roots on the fifth fret of the high and low E and
Oh
on the
yeah.
D
Yeah.
string here. Now, when I first started playing guitar, I think one of the neighborhood kids wrote this out really quickly and basically said, go memorize this. And when you do, come back. And I thought that was stupid. I didn't sound like music. It was terrible. But what I've learned over the last 40 years is that if we think of these root notes, especially when we're learning the scale positions, as the capital letter at the beginning of a musical sentence and the punctuation at the end, then everything that we play makes musical sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up a track and I'm going to use these four notes. And
Mhm.
luckily we have a root there, but I'm going to start with this root. I'm going to go play whatever suits my fancy. And then I'm going to come back and play that root. And we will switch it over. I'm just going to pull up A minor blues or an A blues track, maybe. A.
If you're going through the blue track and it's changing like what it's going through.
Yeah, just
When
stick with the A's. Yeah, just stick with the A's for right now. I think as you progress and you can start playing through the chords, but even somebody like Stevie Ray Vaughan, a lot of his playing was just based around sticking with the root notes of the blues key that he was playing in. So I'm gonna just stick with the A's. Whoops, let's start at the beginning here, and I want you to tell me first off. Make sure you can hear my guitar over the track, but so that I overdid it a lot there, but you could hear I was just playing A and then playing this A and going somewhere these other three notes. Did that sound musical to you?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I wasn't even changing with the chord tones. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to play this track and I'll put a link to this in the spreadsheet so you can kind of mess around with it. But I want you to just take the fifth and the eighth fret on the high E and B string and just start here as the beginning of your musical sentence. Go play
Mhm.
as many notes as you want to, but then in there, and you tell me if you get a more musical result. I'll let you play for a couple of minutes, so you'll have plenty of time. All right. So here's your
Right.
track. Are you able to hear the track on your end?
I think so. Yeah, it was all right.
Okay, good. If ever is an issue, let me know. All right,
Yeah.
tell me what you experienced.
Yeah, I think a bit out of time on it, but that's what I was thinking.
Okay, okay. I can't necessarily hear your guitar because it's kind
Oh,
of
right.
outside of
Okay.
the loop.
Yeah.
But did you feel like you were getting more of a musical result?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Without, yeah.
So here's just a quick I would say add this into your practice session where you pull up tracks in A blues, A rock, and kind of use this. But there's going to be a point where you're like, okay, I've played these four notes enough. I need to do something else. And so
Yeah.
what I'm going to propose that something else is just switch to the next string pair and
Hmm.
focus on playing the seventh fret of the D string. And now you have another four notes total, but three black notes that you can use and just start and stop on the root. And did you feel like when you were just playing the root that it pulled you out of key or sounded bad against the backing track?
If I just played the root, or
No,
but
no. If
actually,
did you feel like that A felt wrong against any of the other chords?
not really, no.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of this will it's kind of you're playing by
Because
the
when I
key.
wasn't finishing on
But that's okay. That's okay. Again, that's going to be one of the things you're going to start and stop on the root, at least for this phase of training. Eventually, you might start somewhere else and end on the root, or you might start on whatever the chord that's playing underneath, and then end on the root of that chord. But we want to, again, we're kind of solidifying where these A's are, but we're also breaking the scale up in a very kind of a musical way. Because if you think about a very good singer, whether it's blues, rock, classical, whatever, they don't necessarily, oh yeah, they don't go back and forth in massive ranges. They will usually, they'll keep their melody somewhere until it needs to move forward and then they'll move it up. Or they'll
it.
start high and they kind of move it down. And that's just in musical terms, that's for classical music, that's called pitch range function. And so your ear might tell you for the first chord of a 12 bar blues, you play these high two strings, maybe the next chord, you switch into the middle two, and the last, few bars, you switch into the low. Your ear and your gut will kind of tell you which way to do that. But just, I firmly believe that working with constraints like this kind of helps your creativity because you have to build good phrases or else
Mm.
it's just going up and down scales kind of kills it a little bit there.
Problem is,
Um,
you can do something and it sounds good, and then you're like, "What did I just do?" That's my problem.
well, so that's an interesting thing. So once we get into we're looking at the fretboard mastery stuff. We're going to be looking at pentatonic fragments, and
Mm.
we'll use I don't know if it's a trick, but it's an exercise to kind of build that musical memory of, wow, I just played something cool. What was it? To kind of go back and put it together. But what you
Yeah.
can do now is, and I think this is a beautiful phrasing thing. I'm going to use the middle two notes so you have a good example of this. Let me go
Mhm.
play the track. I am going to play a short phrase where I'm starting on the root, playing something and coming back, but then I'm going to repeat that phrase. And then maybe the third time I might switch it up a little bit. And I want you to be the judge. If it sucks, tell me. I've got thick skin all these years playing guitar. But if you hear that it's musical, we'll kind of walk through why. So let me back it up. You're gonna get sick of this track by the time I get done
No, usually pretty good.
here.
I'm playing over the top of it.
So I wouldn't say it's my best, but it definitely came out as more musical. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, no, that was good. Yeah, it's
Okay,
definitely
okay.
musical because you were sliding and stuff.
Yeah, I was sliding into the root. So good ear on that one for sure. So I was basically taking a phrase, repeating it, and then doing
Mm.
some kind of variation. And if you think about whatever your favorite songs are, they're built in like verse, verse, chorus, or verse, chorus, chorus. They have repeating sections. So we as guitar players, when we improvise solos, if we play something we like and then we repeat it, our audience is already used to that because their favorite songs are a
Yeah.
bunch of repetitive things. So if we can start to take these 4 note sections and play repeated patterns, immediately you sound more musical and it becomes much easier to create on the fly. So that's something that I would definitely encourage you to do, um, especially playing over tracks. Like, do you have favorite tracks that you use?
Not really at the moment. I just usually go like YouTube and just do a search.
Do a search. I do
I
the
go, that
same
one's all
thing.
right. I thought that one's pretty good. Don't need to play much of that
Yeah,
one.
yeah, and lately they've been getting better. I've been trying to find ones that have the chords going by.
Mm,
Not necessarily because I need to know what the chords are, but if I'm working on maybe chord tone soloing, it helps, because I
mm,
know, oh, this chord's coming up. So this particular track, I'm going to put a link into that spreadsheet so that you can kind of look at it. It counts you in, you kind of have a feel for it. But think about playing starting and stopping on the root, short phrases, it doesn't have to be super long, and then moving to different string sets as you go through. Like we were just looking at a page with shape 1 and shape 2. Shape 2, it's a little different because we only have 2 roots, but you can still find sections to start and stop on the root. So
yeah,
is
I
that
think Guitar Mastery, they go through master the fretboard and they start there and they actually miss two out.
okay? Okay, okay.
They just go straight to the third.
I get well. There's actually some merit to that, I think,
Mm,
and especially once we get to the scale stuff, it'll be totally different than kind of what we're looking at right now. But I think you've already started building this knowledge. We may as well build on it. So does that make sense? Starting and stopping on the root to use things musically, and
yeah.
then constraining yourself to a couple of strings to kind of make it
Mm,
you're basically just kind of training yourself to be more musical as you're playing through
yeah.
stuff. Eventually, you can do the Joe Bonamassa or Eric Johnson thing and, zip up and down, but you want to, those are just means to get from point A to point C. Once you get there, you have to play something musical. So,
Yeah.
any questions on that?
No, I think that's good. Good
That's
mix of all
cool.
work.
Okay. Let me copy, make sure I get everything.